Instagram family, so I'm going to share the story with you guys about a time that I bought a property from auction and it was very nearly a complete disaster. So this would have been about 14 years ago. It was a 2-bedroom property, went to go and see it. So those of you who have bought property before, you get an opportunity to see the property before you bid on it. Most of the time, and there's a legal pack and so on and so forth. So I sent the details on to my solicitor and made the decision. This was the second time I was buying property from auction, so I would have been like 23, 24, and I made the decision not to get a survey at the time because it was a block of flats. So my rationale was, because I'm buying this property and it's a block of flats, there's not going to be a structural issue because of the nature it's in a block. That was kind of my rationale at the time, right? And, oh, was I wrong? Went to see this property, looked great. It was, guide price was like 100K. I thought, okay, you know, based on the way it goes, I'm gonna go like 125, something like that. And it's worth 160 once it's done up. It was in an okay condition. It just needed basic refurb, paint, liquor paint, new kitchen, new bathroom, and we're looking at 160, 170. That's what I was looking at the time, right? So it was SE13 for those of you who want to know. So it's a 2-bedroom SE13 ground floor, yeah. So went to auction, checkbook ready, my little briefcase, thought I was the man, and won the bid on this property. I think it was about 132.5 grand. It was a 10% deposit. Put my deposit down, wrote a check, in fact, put the deposit down and got started. We knew at the time that there were some lenders that were moving very, very fast. So we knew we can get it over the line in 28 days, right? So started moving. So to add to this, it was a November auction. I think it was Andrews and Robertson. Not 100%, but I think it was, that's where I got that one from. So won the bid, happy, keep planning, getting the conveyancing over the line, everything moving forward. Had a valuation done and the survey comes back at 0. Like 0? How do you value this property at 0? So the surveyor valued it at 0 because it had some cracks, which I didn't think was anything major. But essentially, the property had been underpinned and is notorious in the area. Surveyors know, everybody knows it's been underpinned. Now, I had done my due diligence at the time. I called local agents and so on, and I didn't find this out. I didn't know. So we were like, what are we gonna do? So now the time is getting nearer to default. We're like, okay, we'll get another lender. Got another lender, and we thought, okay, well, we're gonna have the same problem. So they were asking us to jump through hoops. They were asking, essentially what the surveyor said, what in the report was, and what they needed to see was that the structural movement was not progressive. And the surveyors wouldn't write that. They wouldn't say it wasn't progressive in that sequence. That's what they wanted to see. So we got another surveyor in, didn't do it. So we was like, all right, let's get another lender. So we're looking for another lender. But we agreed to, the vendor had agreed for us to get access to the property. So I was like, what are we gonna do? So we got access to the property and we just did some paint work. We got a paintwork decorator and did some paint work because the cracks were outrageous. And our plan at the time was to get a surveyor in, not from that area, who perhaps doesn't know the history of this building that it has under, because you might not be able to tell. And therefore, as a result, we'll be able to get a report sufficient for our lender. Anyway, I never forget this. It was December 23rd. I never forget. And I got a phone call and the guy said to me, I never forget the guy's name. He rang me, and this was the owner of the property, right? And he said to me, Byron? I said, yes. He said, he said his name. And he goes, okay, you are now in default of buying my property. You're in breach of contract. So you have 2 choices. I'm like, okay. He said, your choice A is you need to put another £13,000 in my bank account today, or B, I'm going to walk away with your deposit. I'm like, oh my God. So I rang my business partner. I said, look, this is what the guy said. And what made it more challenging was, it wasn't that that's what he was asking for, but it was the fact that because of the timeline, this now was December, like the third final week before Christmas, and all the solicitors, everyone has shut down. So I couldn't even get what he said in writing or a format that was like, you know, sufficient. Okay, maybe now I might have done something a bit different in terms of security. But I was in no position to be like, okay, yeah, can you send me that in an email? And let's do, I wasn't even skilled enough to have done that back then anyway. But he essentially said there were two choices. I said, I'll phone you back. And I remember I was going out at the time, turned around, went home. I said, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pay by check. So I went home, got my checkbook, paid the check into his bank account, right? Thinking that'll buy us till the new year because of, you know, and the solicitors will be open. And this is when I realized that actually during the Christmas period, there isn't that many bank holidays. The money left my account like that. The money left my account. There's not many bank holidays, actual bank holidays during that Christmas period. And I remember we were sweating. So moving on from there, so we paid the deposit and we were getting all kinds of plans, what the underpinning had done. We'd done everything possible. Got a new lender. In the end, we got the mortgage through. Not with the first lender, with the second lender. Got the mortgage through, got the property through, got it over the line, purchased that property. And then from there, it was like, okay, what do you want to do? And it left such a bad taste in our mouths, me and my business partner, that we said, you know what, let's just sell it. And we put it back in the very next auction. And I went to the auction to see the buyer, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but give or take a couple of grand, it was like break-even project, essentially, right? For what we did. So it was a break-even project. The stress, we just wanted to get rid of it. Didn't want it no more. So that was my second experience buying from auction. So there are many lessons from you guys to learn. I'm not going to go over all the lessons, trying to keep this short, but there are many lessons really from buying from auction, and lots of things you need to look out for and be astute to. So it's not a game that anybody can play, because you will lose your money. The person who bought the property from me also didn't get it over the line in time, but he moved quick and he did purchase it. So that was my experience of buying from auction the second time. And man, I wouldn't have wished that on anybody. It was stress because it's like, I couldn't afford to lose 13 grand or whatever it was at the time. I couldn't afford to lose it. So I had to, my only option was to put more money in this guy's bank account. And who knew if he was going to honour what he said? He could have just rang his solicitor and said, you know what, don't want to know more. And it would have been a nightmare trying to recover that money. It would have been a disaster. So that was the experience. That's the story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Oh, one other thing. So in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, right? If we didn't have that emotional experience about that particular property, if you go online and you look now, SE13, 2-bedroom, you're looking at, and even if you just look at that particular block, because I look every kind of 5 years or so, I have a little look. We bought it for 132 and a half, whatever it was. And now I think comfortably you're going to be getting what? 3 and a bit? Because it's still not a great building. But I reckon you're doubling, definitely double your money. Put it that way. Definitely double your money. So was we right to sell it? Let me know what your thoughts are below. You know, what would you have done in my position? Would you have kept it? Would you have sold it? But such is life. You can't keep it all. Sometimes you need to release cash flow to do other things. Sometimes you just have a bad experience. But anyway, that was my experience of potentially losing some money at a time when I couldn't afford to. That was big money. I was still, you know, early 20s. You know, buying property. No one else around me was doing it that I knew. My friends, I had some people within my network as a result of networking that were doing it. Yes, but you know, it was an experience, that's for sure. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you share, like, comment, all that good stuff. And I'm going to record lots more content for you guys.